Hi, everyone. I am so happy to spend the next 40 minutes to an hour with all of you to talk about a topic that is extremely close to my heart, SAP Cloud ALM for implementing and operating SAP SuccessFactors. I'm Becky Doyle. I'm the Global Vice President of Product Support here at SAP, including our entire HR suite and our SuccessFactors solutions. So SuccessFactors is an area that I know really well, and especially where our customers have a little bit of friction with the solution, where ALM can jump in and really make the difference. So I'm excited to spend some time with you today to talk a little bit more about ALM for SuccessFactors. Before we jump in, just a quick disclaimer, I will share with you some forward-looking statements in today's session. Forward-looking statements are always subject to change, so just if you could take a quick second, read through the disclaimer that we have here for SAP so that we know forward-looking statements can change and are subject to change. Just a quick housekeeping, the hashtag ALM Summit is searchable. So if you like this session and want to see more content across the entire solution suite at SAP, you can pop in hashtag ALM Summit and see more sessions just like this one. If you happen to like this session and have some questions as you either are listening in live or watch the recording at a later date, don't be afraid to tweet or find me on LinkedIn at Becky M. Doyle. Ask any questions that you have or leave some feedback and comments on SAP Cloud ALM for SuccessFactors. Please make sure to use the hashtag ALM Summit so that, again, it's searchable and we can find you. All right, so how will we spend our time together today? First, we'll do a quick overview. We'll talk about the customer and partner benefits of transformations with Cloud ALM. Then we'll jump in to the SuccessFactors specific content. And I'm really excited to share with you 3 demos that will not only make the ALM solution more tangible, but give you some real world examples that are live today with Cloud ALM for SuccessFactors. We'll spend about 30 minutes talking about some of the functionality, both from an implementation and a run perspective. So business process monitoring and exception monitoring. And then we'll jump in and leave a good healthy chunk of time for any questions or discussion that we want to bring to the table. All right, so let's jump in. First, just a quick overview of the benefits that we know our customers and our partners will receive through using and utilizing the functionality within Cloud ALM for SuccessFactors. It might be a little bit of a repeat for some of you, but I also talk about why it's important in the HR space to make sure that we have really strong customer partner not only partnership, but confidence in the solutions that we put forward, and especially leading into go live. So let's talk about SAP Cloud ALM on the larger scale. It really does help to manage the overall life cycle from an SAP SuccessFactors perspective. It helps with implementations to accelerate the time to value. And we'll get to see an example of that in a demo where we see really the blueprinting and the best practices shared with you within the Cloud ALM solution. It also helps to safeguard business continuity. We'll see a great example of that in one of our demos where we talk about a business process that is critical to the success of the HR department and how SAP Cloud ALM can help take the guesswork out of that critical business process. We also know in reduced cost of ownership, the faster we get things implemented, the faster we see things go live, the faster we can get our value out of the solutions, especially out of our HR solutions, the better it is for everyone, for the customers and for the partners as well. The best part about what I will share with you today is Cloud ALM is included in the customer's subscription and maintenance contract. So it's no extra charge. Everything that I show you today from a Cloud ALM perspective exists today, but also is something that you could very easily request and have at your disposal today, which is pretty cool. So from an overall Cloud ALM perspective, it really helps to manage the full life cycle for your SAP SuccessFactors solution. And again, that's from implementation, even starting out, the blueprinting phase. What do we want our system to look like? All the way through to testing prior to go live, and then monitoring those business processes as you move forward. When we look at really the details behind the accelerated go live, I talked a little bit about speed. And we know, especially in today's economy where things are moving extremely fast and things change really in an instant, we want to make sure that we have a good head start. And I feel for SuccessFactors, SAP Cloud ALM really provides that. It provides really full access to the content library within Cloud ALM. When we're talking about HR processes, a lot of times we want to make sure that we are looking at best practice and we know what's out there as industry best practice, but that we can make it customizable for our own business needs. I think that's really important to know, that Cloud ALM isn't just fit to standard and it's set in stone. It allows you the flexibility to change that, change your business process, adjust them slightly while still staying very safe and within the best practice framework. So accelerating go live really helps to lead the way by giving you those breadcrumbs, you can call them, across your planning phase into your build, and again, that all important test phase. It helps to minimize disruptions. We'll see a little bit of the analytics behind, but Cloud ALM puts everything in front of you, whether from a customer perspective, a partner perspective, or more importantly, the way our customers and partners work together. It makes the entire process from an implementation standpoint and even post-implementation very visible with our analytics and reporting. It also helps to make sure that we can accelerate our problem resolution. So if something does go wrong, we can pinpoint exactly where it goes wrong in the system and quickly address it from a process perspective. It also helps to automate those solutions where needed. And again, we'll have a great example of that for our business process monitoring. When we talk about cost, something that's important to every customer and partner alike, SAP Cloud ALM helps to reduce the cost of ownership. We talked about that speed piece, and that is, of course, important. Faster time to value, faster realization of the solutions. But it's also important that with Cloud ALM, it's no additional charge, as we talked about, and no maintenance cost. So really, there is no downside of jumping into Cloud ALM for your SuccessFactors solution. It opens up a world of possibilities from a process and content perspective, but also in how you run your business moving forward. When we look at the partner benefits, so for anybody listening in that's a partner, you must think, oh, this is great. It helps really to guide our customers through their implementation and business process. But what about us from our side? And I think it's really important that from a partner perspective, how you understand how SAP Cloud ALM benefits the partner and customer relationship as well. We talked about faster time to value, and that's a bit of a no-brainer. It's something that, of course, we want to make sure we get our customers up and running and utilizing their solutions as quickly as possible. But it also helps with the confidence piece, which I think is really important. From a customer perspective, they have that visibility with you as a partner to talk in tandem. The customer never has to wonder what's happening, but also you as a partner can give them that great roadmap and share that visibility with them. That really helps to take the guesswork and maybe a little bit of that fear of are we on time, are we on track, away from the partnership. From that perspective, it's important that we know the full benefits across, not just for the customer, but for the partner as well. It helps you, again, get that head start in defining those implementation projects very clearly from the start. And again, it doesn't mean that they can't be adjusted and edited to your customer's business needs and business process, but it gives you the standard right out of the box, ready to go, so that you know the best practice and can guide your customer through it. We also, of course, support partner extensions through Cloud ALM. So there's really, again, a win-win from that perspective. There's nothing that you utilize today that we wouldn't be able to support with Cloud ALM to help your customers not only implement faster and with great quality, but also, again, to make sure that business process monitoring and exception monitoring is up and running. So really, it can be an extension of the partner business, but it also gives some great benefits and best practices that puts you ahead of the game when it comes to implementing SAP SuccessFactors. When we look at the customer benefits, and I won't talk through each of these because I think it's something that we've really kind of touched on already in the deck, but we'll see this in some of the examples. So just a quick recap from a customer perspective. Again, it's no additional cost. It gives the customers the visibility, which I think especially in the HR space is so important in building that confidence throughout the implementation, but in those really critical moments before go live, you know and have the confidence that your solution is not only healthy, but going to meet the business needs that you have. The accelerated implementation, we talked about an out-of-the-box implementation, and then, of course, that important business process monitoring. So it's not just, hey, you're live, it's successful, you're confident in your solution, but it helps you continue that business process health throughout your entire journey with the SAP solution, especially here with SuccessFactors. So really great benefits from using Cloud ALM. And again, I will say it is at no additional cost. So it makes sense for each customer to definitely not only implement with Cloud ALM, but make sure we're managing our business processes as well. For any customers that are already live with the solution, managing those business processes is made easy through SAP Cloud ALM. So I talked a little bit, and I've done some teasers about what we'll see today from a demo perspective. So I'll jump right in and talk a little bit about the improved experience with implementation. And that's where we'll start. We'll start at the very beginning. As a customer, you know that SAP SuccessFactors is the perfect HR solution for you, part of our best of suite product solutions. So awesome. You're getting started with SuccessFactors. How do we make sure that implementation is as easy and as simple as possible, but that you have the confidence that it's not only best practice, you're using industry standard, but that it'll meet your business needs? So let's talk a little bit about implementation. Implementations through SAP Cloud ALM for SuccessFactors help you to currently, this all exists today, design, build, and test your solutions. And this is really, really important. I talked a lot in the beginning about the confidence that we get in using Cloud ALM with our implementations. From a customer perspective, especially in the HR space, we know the confidence in our solutions and the criticality of the business processes that go along with our HR solutions. It needs to work, and we need to make sure that it works every time. Think about those critical areas like payroll. We want to make sure what we build not only meets our regulations, but meets our country-specific regulations as well. And we know when we turn it on, it's going to work every time without question. So from the SAP process library, we start at the beginning. We can design those solutions that are fit to standard and really what we would consider best practices in implementing SAP SuccessFactors. It gives you that leg up. It gives you the blueprint and the skeleton of how to be successful in your implementation. It also helps to make sure that we are testing. So we talked about the design, a little bit about the build phase. You can make it and customize it based on your own solutions or your own business need. You can also test it. And that's, I think, really important. It's not only that we've built something and we think it's fantastic, but you can test it to make sure that it is healthy. And again, when you turn it on day one, it's going to work exactly the way you've designed it to meet your business need. In the future, we're also looking from a consistent deployment approach through Cloud ALM. So lots of really exciting stuff still coming up for Cloud ALM. But already today, lots of great stuff existing. So when we think about Cloud ALM, I think sometimes it's a little bit of how do you get started? And is it a big thing? And do I have to download something? And will it be tricky? Or will it be something that I'll need to read a manual to figure out how to do? So I thought it was really important, especially from an HR perspective and from a very much a business user perspective, to show how easy it is to hop on to SAP Cloud ALM. You request your instance, whether you're a customer or a partner, and you have this library at your disposal right out of the box. So I wanted to kind of just take you through what it looks like and how easy it is, not only from what we have in the system today, but how easily it is adjustable to meet your customer's business need or to meet your own business need. So just quickly, I'll take you through the first demo. Now, this is live in the system today. This is a demo that shows us exactly what it looks like when you come in to start an implementation project with SAP Cloud ALM. So for SuccessFactors, you can come in, you can start your project right away. So very simple. You can name it whatever you like. From a partner perspective, that is helpful, especially if you're implementing in phases as well. You can see here from a task template perspective, we have, and again, this is all live in the system today. We have hire to retire. Of course, we have integrated solutions already in. So say your SuccessFactors and S4, we have those guided best practices there for you for your implementation project. So full hire to retire from a SuccessFactors perspective, say that we want to come in and we are really focused on a certain part of our business, say performance management. We know that we have all of these different libraries and best practices for areas like EC, for performance management, as I talked about, for payroll, of course, which is a critical part of our business. The thing that's really cool about SAP Cloud ALM is that it's customizable and adjustable. So you might not need every piece of the puzzle. You might need and want certain parts of, we'll say, performance management that's important to your company. You might maybe want to make sure that you're setting goals. You might want to make sure that it's customizable based on the country that you're in. All of this comes standard in the box. So you can come through and select, go through. You can see you have your blueprinting here, your roadmap. You can click into each of these areas from a conduct review, performance management improvement, and edit and adjust them to what you need. Again, I'm not doing anything that isn't already in the system today. When we think about complex areas like HR, it takes the guesswork out of how the workflows should work and how we can implement them to, again, not only be best practice, but meet those customer needs. You can see here it gives you an overview within each step, and it also is customizable, meaning you can edit based on your own business needs, regional needs, or as a partner, you can edit it based on what your customers are giving you as their requirements. It's really helpful from an overall landscape perspective, because not only do you have visibility into this, but your partner does as well. So you can kind of get in there and work through this from a guided perspective. You can create requirements as we see here, and make sure that we are assigning these projects out to the teams so that everybody knows what not only they're held accountable for, but how the system works together in harmony. So the implementation phase that can typically be really a stressful, perhaps, time where you're defining what the system that you've invested in is going to look like to meet your business need. Cloud ALM helps to take that guesswork out of it. It gives you all of the, I would say, from the hire to retire, it gives you the best practices, but also allows you to set them up for your customer, edit them together, have that visibility, and then keep yourself on track. So again, creating assignments, making sure that you're working together. If it's partner and customer, making sure that you're working together to really realize your solution in a great way. All of your tasks will be here in your dashboard, and you will continue to work through your project, again, with that confidence, but transparency, which doesn't always happen easily through implementations. So from that perspective, I wanted just to give a quick overview of what it looks like and how easy it is to jump on. Again, I am not in a special system that we have that isn't live yet. This is taken directly from our cloud solution, or cloud ALM solution for SuccessFactors. So all of this comes standard within the SAP Cloud ALM solution for SuccessFactors. It exists today. So if you have not seen it, and even if you're an existing customer or partner, it would benefit you to go ahead in and take a look. Request an instance so you can see the different configurations and what's in there, but not only that, how easy it is and how intuitive it is to use in your guided implementation. Just a little bit more, SAP Cloud ALM works in partnership with the SAP Activate methodology. I think that's really important to know that SAP, of course, across our suite, not just for SuccessFactors, are working in tandem with some of our already great implementation best practices. Activate is a perfect example because it not only helps us to provide those standardizations, it also helps us to make sure we're tracking deliverables in a way that is healthy across the life cycle of the solution. From fit to standard, of course, as I mentioned before, you're in there together, both from a customer and a partner perspective, or just a customer perspective. You're in there working on the solution together. So there's that great transparency and visibility, but there's also that confidence in what you're building. It's not something that's going on behind the curtain, but it puts it at the forefront to make sure that everybody is on the same page with not only the requirements and tasks, but what it is that you need to accomplish. So from that perspective, I think that piece of it, we went through it very quickly in the demo, is really important, where you can set your own requirements, but again, have visibility into those requirements as you build the solution that you know will meet your business needs moving forward. The other piece of it, and I think that this is such a critical part of what Cloud ALM offers, and especially, as I mentioned before, to SuccessFactors, the visibility into the project, how it's going. You have this fantastic analytic tool, but you have this dashboard that tells you exactly where you are in the solution. Is it healthy? Do you have tasks that are overdue? If you're managing the project from a customer perspective, are there people that need to be doing tasks? There's things falling behind. Does anybody need help? This is the visibility that we don't often get in implementation, especially large implementations, that can sometimes make the difference between an implementation staying on track or falling behind. So having the visibility in the analytics app really, I believe, not only helps to keep on track and accelerate that time to value, but helps make sure that everybody is on the same page, because it gives you that ease right directly from the Cloud ALM solution. And for HR projects that can be quite big and be very country specific, it's important that you have all of those different balls that you have in the air organized in a single source of truth, which is what this provides for you. So really, really fantastic stuff. I'm excited about it because, as someone who's implemented HR solutions before, something like this really would have helped us to know even the intricate things in the tasks that we've had, the things we're staying on track, but also where we're falling behind, so that we could put that attention where it was needed. So really, really fantastic. I would say knock-on effect of utilizing Cloud ALM is that you have this great transparency through the analytics. All right, so we talked about implementations, really fantastic functionality already existing in the solution today. But say you're already live with SuccessFactors, or say that you're ready to implement and you go through Cloud ALM, but now you're live and you want to make sure that you're protecting your investment with SAP SuccessFactors. You know that you have a healthy system implemented with best practice methodology. Now you're live. And you want to make sure that those critical business functions continue to operate in a way that you set and within the guidelines that you set. SAP Cloud ALM takes that guesswork again out of you monitoring these critical business processes. So let's talk a little bit more about that. It's not just around the business process monitoring, it also helps us to monitor our integrations and our exceptions. So when we talk about integrated solutions, we know solutions continue to become more and more connected. And we know our HR solutions that are at the core to our people data need to be connected to lots of different solutions. Maybe it's payroll, maybe it's a performance management tool, maybe it's a travel and authorization tool, procurement. We need to make sure that all of our data is working together in harmony. Cloud ALM helps us to provide that visibility, not only in our business processes that we know are critical, but also in the way our systems run together, which is really important. Even throughout SuccessFactors, how our systems work together. So from an analytics perspective, from a core EC perspective, how it all flows and works together in a really, of course, in a great way, but we want to make sure we have that visibility across. In case something does go wrong, we know exactly where we need to put attention, and sometimes we can even proactively address that without and automate the solution for our customers. So let's just quickly look into the two areas: business process monitoring and integration and exception monitoring is where we'll focus on today. This really helps, of course, across from the entire recruit to retire system. From a business process monitoring perspective, this is once you're live, you can set these KPIs in to help you manage those critical business processes. So really it helps from an end-to-end perspective, but it also helps run your business. So you're live, you're ready to go. You want to make sure your business stays healthy. It gives you that oversight to make sure that you are putting in those critical moments or those critical measurements that can help make sure your business stays healthy and can automate it where needed. So it can help monitor these processes. It can help alert the people that we have carrying out these processes, or sometimes it takes care of it from the back end without really that human intervention needed, or maybe just at a click of a button. So just quickly, and in the interest of time, I want to talk a little bit about the business process monitoring capabilities, and then we'll get into an example, because I think that really is what makes it real. So from a business process monitoring perspective, it's important, of course, that we are finding these things quickly and helping to resolve them, providing that transparency, and again, the automated solution where we can. There are 16 KPIs already live today, and you can see them here with additional planned for this year. So these are standard business processes we know across the HR solution that are critical to the success of the business. I'll get into the example now so we can really see this in action. So to tee this up, we have a recruiter. We know, especially now, given the climate across recruiting, recruiting can be an extremely stressful position in making sure that you have offers filled as quickly as possible. And it's important from a recruiting perspective that we are setting measurable KPIs, of course, to make sure that our recruiters have a healthy workflow. So in this example, we have a recruiter. I will say that I'm a recruiter coming in, and I see that I have a notification. This is an email alert that came in to tell me that something wasn't quite right with my numbers. I can also go into my Cloud ALM dashboard here and see the alerts. So the email functionality is an add-on, but it helps to make sure that I have it in two places. From the alert, I can go in and I see, ooh, something is not healthy here. I have too many offer letters pending for the KPI that we say that we define at my company as a healthy KPI for me to have as a recruiter. I want to look into that a little bit more because, hey, I want to make sure that not only am I meeting my KPIs, but the offer letters that I send out are addressed and hopefully accepted as soon as possible. So I can go in and see not only the alert, but the details behind the alert. So which requisitions are open, which have offer letters that are pending, and how can I take action on those offer letters that are pending? I can also see the different KPIs and how they're set. What constitutes a healthy KPI? Again, it takes that transparency out of it for the recruiter, for me, to know what's healthy and what isn't. It also helps me to automate the process from an overall flow perspective. So I know that I have a few offer letters that have not been addressed by the candidates that I sent them out to. And I want to make sure that our candidates are aware of this. Instead of going back to each of those candidates and having to send an email manually, I can go through the system and start a reminder. This helps me to remind all of my candidates in the system to take action on the offer letter sent. This happens all within the solution. So we know a business critical function that I have as a recruiter isn't quite meeting the KPI. I can go in and make sure that from a very human perspective, I know what I need to do. I need to send reminders because they have not replied to my offer letter. Then, of course, get them. We'll say this is a day later. They have received the reminder, and of course, now they've accepted the offer. And as a recruiter, I know my KPI is healthy, but really what's behind it is I know that I was able to either nudge or quickly bring a requisition to a close. Given that extra process step. Really, it was a click of a button from a recruiter standpoint, but it helped me to not only manage my workload, but make sure that I was getting accomplished what, as a HR department, we were considering really healthy KPIs and timing for that critical step in the offer process, which is getting the offer letter signed. Again, this exists today in the Cloud ALM solution. So the functionality is there from a customer perspective to really open up, you can set your own KPIs and help monitor. Again, recruiting is just one example, but help monitor those critical business processes along your HR lifecycle. Let's talk about integration and exception monitoring. We know that from an SAP perspective, we are a best in suite. I would consider SAP SuccessFactors best in class with HR, but it is not just about the one solution. It is making sure that across your solution, whether you have SAP's best of suite solutions for your business needs, or you have SAP SuccessFactors and other solutions. From that perspective, it's really important that the way these systems all connect, especially when we're talking about people data, they connect in a way that is seamless, and that you also are aware of what those connections need in order to be healthy and how your workflow flows from one system to another. With SAP Cloud ALM for SuccessFactors, we have end-to-end monitoring of our system solution. So again, that ever important data, we can see how it goes from one solution, from one solution area and transfers and flows into another. Again, from an HR perspective, we know that people are key and that people data can help us to make loads of different decisions, but also to make sure that our business is flowing successfully. We'll use payroll as an example, and we'll actually have an example in the payroll area as well. So from this perspective, we talk about, and I'll just put my support hat on for a second, it helps to close the gap between the business and IT. A lot of times when a system doesn't run the way we want, we have an alert, but we don't quite know where and what broke. With SAP Cloud ALM, integration monitoring, we can actually see the flow of data and where things aren't working. That is such valuable information to help pinpoint areas that need attention, or maybe that we have a data issue right away. It's no longer wondering where or what system or what caused the issue. It now gives us that full scope, and we can see exactly and pinpoint where something is causing that flow to potentially break down. So exception monitoring is such an important piece of SAP Cloud ALM for the overall health of the life cycle. But as our systems and as our business processes become more and more connected, it becomes a critical part and really one of the most valuable pieces, in my opinion, that SAP Cloud ALM continues to sustain. So that exception monitoring and integration monitoring, we'll see a great example of that. But just before we do, it's important that we do have this, again, live in the SAP Cloud ALM solution. We are able to monitor and detect when things go wrong. Just from a business process perspective, we are able to identify exactly and pinpoint exactly where the issue is coming from. We provide that transparency, which again saves time, which is a huge win from being able to pinpoint and get something fixed quickly. And then, of course, we can automate either the alerts or the process in correcting the solution. So really fantastic functionality. Again, free with your maintenance subscription as part of Cloud ALM or your standard enterprise support contract as well. These just gives you a laundry list. Again, I won't read this slide to you, but it gives you a list of what is live today in the integration and exception monitoring side of Cloud ALM. So this exists today. These are things that we see currently, whether it's, again, across the SAP suite or within SuccessFactors directly across cloud and hybrid scenarios as well. So these exist today. I want to show you a quick demo that will really help paint this picture from a SuccessFactors perspective to S4. So I'll tee this up because what we have is really the Cloud ALM view. But if I take you into the HR process, so we have somebody brand new starting. We have somebody entering in their data, and they get their IBAN number incorrect. And we know in SuccessFactors that field is quite open, so they have a digit off from an IBAN perspective. Okay, that's a payroll detail. So an employee is telling you, here's my IBAN number. This is where I expect my paycheck to go. So it'd be like direct deposit information. But it needs to be, as you can imagine, formatted exactly the way the bank would need it to be in order for payment to be made. So we have a data entry issue. the IBAN number is entered incorrectly. In the past, perhaps that would have caused, of course, the integration to fail and the person not to get paid, but we might not have known about it right away. Or worse, we might only have known about it when it was payroll. And then we have an urgent issue because the payroll system or the payroll process isn't running correctly. So SAP Cloud ALM in such a critical area can help to have that visibility right away. So we'll start the demo really the day after, or the day this was entered incorrectly into the system. So from our perspective, we can see this is our Cloud ALM homepage. I'm logging in just to check to make sure that everything is entered correctly, and I see that I have an alert. I have a critical alert that tells me that there is a problem in the way that my data is transferring from our HR solution from SuccessFactors into S4. The data is broken. We can see exactly here where the issue is. It's a banking issue. Of course, we know in the background, because I let you know, that it is an IBAN issue, but we wouldn't know that unless we had this visibility. So we can actually not only just know that we have a problem, we can break it down to see exactly where the problem exists in our integrated solution and pinpoint and correct that data. So you can see here, this gives us a list of where it should have flown correct, business should have flowed correctly, and where we had that breakdown. We can not only see what happened that caused that breakdown, but we can see exactly what triggered to get the technical error that we have. We can then alert from an HR perspective the issue, that we found it, and that we can correct the information and the poor data in the system. Once that's corrected, we know then the system will flow, and it takes all of the guesswork out. In the past, this might have taken a full day of investigation, depending on how quick and how much we could have visibility into what was happening, and we knew. A lot of times we don't know when things are entered into the system. SAP Cloud ALM helps to make sure from an overall maintenance perspective, we know exactly where something, a mistake could happen very easily from a data entry perspective. It helps to make sure that you have those additional checks. We know from that it was fixed, of course, and then data is able to continue to flow. I think for me, this is one of the most critical areas, and of course, payroll is one of the most critical areas of our HR business. But being able to see how that data flows and the overall health, even if something as small as a human error can cause a huge, huge issue and potentially have this employee not get paid, it helps us to correct that again before it becomes this urgent issue when we're trying to run payroll. So really, really great value, again, out of the box, existing today with SAP Cloud ALM. So integrating and exception monitoring for me is one of the coolest areas that we have with Cloud ALM. But if you think about it from the life cycle, and just to kind of wrap up, and then we'll open it up for questions. When we really think about the overall life cycle in using Cloud ALM, if we have a successful and confident, tested implementation, we know we're already starting off with a fantastic solution that not only meets our business needs, but we know is based on a best practice that can also help to build that confidence with our overall solution. We also know we can monitor and put in triggers for our business processes across the way that we consider really those critical business processes. And then as we know, as the world gets more and more integrated, we know that we can continue to monitor that from an SAP Cloud ALM perspective for SuccessFactors to make sure that all of our integrations are working and are healthy, especially as we had in the example in critical areas like recruiting or in payroll. So this is a call to action, and then we'll open it up for questions. For those of you that are curious about SAP Cloud ALM for SuccessFactors, and hopefully that's all of you as you have been with me for the last little while, learning a little bit more. I encourage you to continue that journey, continue to learn more, not just for SuccessFactors, but really across the SAP suite. Cloud ALM provides these solutions that are so powerful for our customers, but help to, again, provide lots and lots of benefits, not only from an implementation phase, but for the continued life of the solution. Try it out. As I mentioned before, it's not something that is extremely difficult or that you have to worry about breaking. You have the ability to try it out. We have a public demo system where you see all of the things that I showed you are already loaded. But from that perspective, hopefully this gives you a little bit of an ease in trying it out, because it really is a great solution. From my perspective, it's intuitive to help not only from an implementation, but again, as we continue to run our business after go live. Requests. So really easy to request a instance from a Cloud ALM perspective, and that guided setup and help as well. And then of course, use Cloud ALM in your implementations moving forward. And then if you, of course, are already live with your solution, any continued implementations that you might have, or of course, to monitor those critical business processes and where your system connects together.